Hello, and welcome to the Think MHK podcast presented by the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce. On this podcast, you will hear from a variety of people from across the region, including community leaders and business owners. You will hear their Manhattan stories and hopefully get to know your friends and business associates a little better. Thanks for tuning in today. Our guest in this episode of the Think MHK podcast is Andy Ellis. Andy was recently selected as one of our 20 under 40 and continues in our series as we interview those winners. Andy, welcome to the Think MHK podcast.
Thanks for having me. Great.
So I know this is your second appearance on the show, but it's been a while. So for those that maybe didn't get to or haven't heard that in a while or haven't heard your first show, talk a little bit about yourself and how you ended up in Manhattan.
Sure. Well, I had kind of the classical K-State experience. Obviously, I was here in Manhattan from 2004 to 2008, graduated in political science, loved every minute of it. Got to see some great basketball, Michael Beasley being back. That was a good time. Not so great on the football side, but enjoyed my time at K-State immensely. And then I had the pleasure of, having grandparents who actually lived in Manhattan. And so I spent many of my summers as a kid coming back here and being with them and going to the country club and watching fireworks and doing all the fun stuff that Manhattan has to do in the summer. And so after law school, the opportunity was there for me to come back to work at Arthur Green, and the rest is history. It's been a great place to grow and, raise a family so far.
I know most people know what Arthur Green is, but for those that don't,
sure.
What is Arthur Green?
Yeah, Arthur Green is the law firm at 801 Points, right? Founded actually by my grandfather, Dick Green, in 1950. And so it's as close to a family business as I can ever hope to have. But the firm has been, like I said, that we actually were talking the other day, this is our 75th year. So we're pretty excited about that. But we practice in the fields of, general business law, some litigation, obviously, but a lot of banking, credit transactions, real estate, tax, estate planning, all of the very exciting parts of the law that everybody loves. Those are kind of our focuses and specialties.
And of course, we work with your firm a lot on economic development projects because you tend to be the people that are representing the property owners and other people involved in that transaction. You talked about 75th anniversary. So this year we're celebrating our 100th anniversary. And I know, and I've heard this story, you and I haven't talked about it, but at our annual meeting earlier this year, we had our founding documents out, which included a list of all the members of the chamber 100 years ago. So 1924 when we were officially founded, and your grandfather was on there, great-grandfather?
Great-grandfather, Mont Green. Yeah, he was one of the founding charter members. He owned actually Green Construction, which is now BHS by kind of a circuitous route. And a lot of roots in Manhattan. Really cool to see that at the Chamber banquet.
And you were talking to Ned Seaton, I heard, whose grandfather was on there because
right.
he was at the newspaper, and they were one of the founding members as well.
Yeah, really, really neat to have some of those relationships, and that was a pretty cool moment.
So you were, as we talked about earlier, you were named one of the 20 under 40, and I believe this is the first time that we've had in the same year a husband and wife winner. So your wife was also a winner of the award this year and has been a guest or scheduled to be a guest on the Think MHK podcast. So first of all, talk about how you felt winning the award, and then maybe touch a little bit on
Sure.
what that experience was like being a couple.
Yeah, the award is phenomenal. Very pleased to have received it. Great honor. A lot of amazing people in the group and cohort, and so I'm very appreciative of that. But particularly, it's not every day you get to kind of have your spouse be included with you in that. And my wife works extremely hard, both at her job. She's a CPA with St. Gordon and Associates. I won't let her talk about all those fun tax things that she does, but she does so much to make sure that, I'm where I need to be and kids are where they need to be. So, really, really cool to share that with her. Pretty special, to be honest. And so, yeah, I feel really lucky that she got that recognition as well.
And I'm sure made it a more special moment, I guess, for both of you to get to, yeah.
Yeah, it was. We had to go pick our daughter up from play practice at the MAC right after it, so we didn't get to revel in it very much, but that's kind of how it goes.
That's what being a young parent is all about, right?
You got it, man.
So other than being my neighbor, which you are, I think we've talked about on the last show, what makes Manhattan a special place to live?
I think Manhattan, just the amenities that it has, where we are so lucky to have all of the things that you would want your family, your friends to experience, and it's all within 15 minutes. I always joke that when I have to go to Topeka, when I need to, which is rare, for something, it's nothing. It's like commuting downtown to Kansas City, which my parents did, for their whole lives. And so just the accessibility of everything, the amenities, the feeling of community. I'm not from here originally, although obviously I have some roots here. And Courtney and I always talk about how just awesome it was to be accepted as transplants, because a lot of folks are, and how fun it is that Manhattan is just kind of a community that, again, has some historical figures and people who've been here a long time, but also, people who move in and out, and that's really fun.
Yeah, and I don't remember if you said this specifically, but you went to college. You came to Manhattan to go to K-State.
Sure. Yep.
You did leave for a couple years, right?
I did. Yeah. I went down the river.
Yeah.
As the river goes, to KU for a few years, but my allegiance is squarely with the purple and the white, and no additional funds will be flowing to the other side of.
So other than that little stint, was 2 years, 3 years?
3 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
You've been, ever since you've come to college, you've been in Manhattan.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. So why have you decided to stay here, other than the things you talked about? Because I'm sure you've had opportunities, attorneys, to go to Kansas City or somewhere else. I mean, what other than just, again, the things you highlighted, what is there about being in Manhattan, whether it's from in your business career or personal life, that you've decided to stay?
Well, I always think about what paths are out there, right? And in my profession, particularly in the field that I practice in, which is primarily estate planning, business planning, if I was going to do that in a place like Kansas City, I'd probably have to work downtown. I'd probably have to commute. I'd probably have to make some sacrifices on my schedule that I wouldn't otherwise. I certainly don't have to otherwise here. I mean, I see my kids every night. I get to go to all the functions that I need to with the chamber and different charitable organizations that I'm involved in. I lose nothing on the family side, right? I coached my son's basketball game, 1st and 2nd grade basketball last night, and I'm not sure I'd be able to do that if I lived somewhere else, for a variety of reasons. I think, it's just a great program, and I'm lucky to kind of be able to participate in different kids' activities. I've coached my daughter's soccer team for a long time too, and so just being able to live a full life, I think is, there'd be opportunities elsewhere, but not to the extent that Manhattan allows you to do those things, be professionally successful, practice the type of law that I wanted to practice, and really just engage with the community in a lot of different ways, which is really, really awesome.
You've chosen a work-life balance as opposed to
absolutely,
but without necessarily forsaking a successful career.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I need to run to the office over the weekend, that can seem like an arduous process, but for me, it's like 7 minutes away, door to door. It's nothing.
Yeah.
And so I sacrifice nothing to get good client service for my people that I work with, and work with my partners. There's no loss there, and yet I get to do all the things that I'd like to do from a family and community perspective.
And you referenced your kids. How many and how old?
My daughter Hadley is 10. She's a 4th grader, and my son Burke is 7, and he's a 1st grader. And They are both very busy.
And so you talked a minute about chamber and those. So you've stayed active with the chamber. Why is that important to you?
Yeah, well, primarily because the clients that I work with are all chamber members, right? I mean, the chamber is just such a valuable resource in terms of networking and in terms of bringing us closer as a firm to those folks. But it also allows for kind of a cohesive business environment. And when that's what you do, which is largely what my practice is, there's no better partner than the chamber.
And of course, 6 years ago, you sat on or a little over 6 years ago, you sat on the CEO search committee.
Yep, I did.
And that's how
Feels
I
like
ended
yesterday.
up here. So any regrets? Hopefully not.
No, you're rocking it, Jason, no doubt.
Well, I wasn't necessarily looking for compliments.
Yeah, it was a little. There was a cast, right? They're just trying to reel it in.
All right, you caught me. So, as a young professional, what advice would you have for others that are leaving school and entering the workforce?
Yeah, I mean, I think the hard thing for young professionals is don't necessarily think about next year. Think about 5 years, think about 10 years, think about what you want your life to look like in those timelines, as opposed to, what's my starting salary? What am I going to do? Where am I going to live next year? Because I think if you really think about it longitudinally and look out even beyond kind of the immediate future, what's that first salary out of school going to look like? And it's more, what is my life going to be like if I live in these different places? I think that'll make you a lot more successful.
Here's an interesting question that we probably should ask more, but as someone who graduated from Kansas State, and do you notice that most kids leave, and if they do you notice that there's a pullback where a lot of those folks tend to think, how can I get back once they get families and those kind of things?
It's really funny that you mentioned that, because I can't tell you how many people, very experienced attorneys who went to K-State, and that's usually who I'm speaking with, but even friends, and they're like, man, that must be just so great to live in Manhattan. And I'm always like, well, yeah, it is. And then the conversation always ends up, well, how could I do it? And I've got a family and I've got, all these things. And I'm like, hey, well, we have all that here. I mean, that can all be taken care of. And so I'm a big proponent for people moving back. And I'm lucky. We've had a few friends come from Kansas City and Wichita and be here. And certainly in the legal and medical profession, I've got a couple friends who are doctors here in town. It's been really cool to see that migration back to Manhattan and to see the same things that I do.
What they call the boomerang, where people leave and then come back.
Yeah,
so it's kind of
exactly.
So that's a real thing, and you've seen it through your time. So other than the Think MHK podcast, do you have any other podcasts that you would recommend that people listen to?
Yeah, great question. I will fully admit I am not the podcast person in our family. That would squarely belong to my wife. We do listen to a lot of Three Ma on car trips and some Chiefs Kingdom. We're both obviously big K-State fans, but then Chiefs fans too. So probably those would be the two I listen to the most.
Okay. All right. Well, that's most people we've discovered through this process. I shouldn't say most, but there are a lot of people who say, I'm a podcast for entertainment person. Mm-hmm. You would think you get, well, listen to this, listen to that, but and you know what? I'm the same way. I mean, I usually, most of the time I'm doing it while I'm working out or running, and it's like, I don't want to think. I want something that gets my mind off of running,
right,
or whatever workout I'm going on. So that makes a lot of sense. All right. So that's the end of the standard interview questions, and we're going to move into the infamous rapid fire, where we ask you 10 questions and ask you to answer just off the top of your head as quickly as possible.
Sure.
And we'll get to learn a little more about Andy. You ready?
Okay, I'm ready. Go.
What movie have you seen the most?
Star Wars. Like particularly like what I would call the original trilogy, episodes 4 through 6. Huge Star Wars fan. Definitely middle school is where it kind of started when episode 1 came out, but big Star Wars guy.
So which do you think is the best?
Empire Strikes Back. Easy.
Okay, so that's a pretty standard answer, right?
Well, it is.
Most people are
undisputed.
Are 5, 4, or 3.
Yep.
That's usually one of the three. So what do you think? We're gonna get off subject here. What was your opinion on the last trilogy, 7, 8, 9?
Yeah, I mean, they did some things. They could have done some really cool things, and I felt like they played it safe. And but again, I actually thought the last movie was pretty cool. I wish it was kind of 2 movies, and they could have done a little more exposition on the whole Sith thing. But again, I won't nerd out too much here.
I'm a little bit of Star Wars nerd too. Not to the extent of like one of my stepsons, but I thought 8 ruined the whole thing because I thought 8 was too
clunky.
different from 7, and then they tried to swing it back. I just thought that's what ruined the whole thing. But anyway, we can talk about that offline one of these days. Okay, so when you were a kid, what job did you want?
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a writer. That was what I wanted to do.
I don't know that I've ever met a kid who wanted to be a writer. What did you want to write? I was a pretty nerdy kid, Jason. What did you want to write?
Novels. And I think even today, like that's something that's always in the back of my mind. For sure, that'd be cool to do someday.
Yeah, that would be cool. What was your first job?
My first job was working at Target at 69 Highway and 151st Street in Overland Park. And that was a good experience in a lot of ways, mostly because it made me never want to work retail again. Yeah. I did it for 5 years through college, and it was like, yeah, I'm good. Good.
Now, were you at Target when Kristen Wiig did her Target lady on Saturday?
Kristen Wiig was a little later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was in high school, so I was done in about 2007. Okay. So
that's anytime you talk about She's Target, that's all I can think about is Kristen Wiig raising her hand. Hooray! Yeah. Okay, what's the most unusual pet you've had?
Unusual pet. I haven't had a super unusual pet. My dog, he's kind of an unusual guy. We call him a Chihuahua. He's a little dog. He's a little dog. He's a half Chihuahua, half Maltese. So he's just an unusual guy in his mannerisms. He's really the only pet I've ever had. Yeah. So he's probably the most unusual.
So for those of us who live on Lacharno, know that Andy is out walking his dog.
Man.
Fully suited up.
Yeah, he's getting old too. So I was impressed he made it through the winter, but he's like, we got him when we first moved to Manhattan. So he's like 13 years old. He's getting a little creaky, but definitely a good dog. All
right. What's the coolest place you've traveled?
Coolest place I've ever traveled. We went to Lyon, France. It's kind of an off the wall, but Lyon is just a beautiful, beautiful city. Has some really cool rivers that run directly through it. A lot of cool architecture. So really kind of one of those places that I was like, I've never would have expected to come here, but my wife had a foreign exchange student that stayed with him who was from there. And so we got kind of the full Lyon experience. That was really cool.
Because that was what I was going to ask. Were you like going to Lyon, or was it part of a bigger tour?
No, my wife and I, before we had kids, we went over to Europe. We did Ireland and London and Paris. But Lyon was really, really cool. I mean, just a unique city.
So you brought up Ireland. Are you going to Ireland?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not. I'm a little sad about it. But with kids' schedules and all kinds of different things.
Yeah, it is kind of tough right at the beginning of school.
Yeah, that's the hardest part.
What is the one thing that instantly makes your day better?
Oh man, see my kids at the end of the day. They're 7 and 10. They think I'm really cool, which is they'll learn maybe in a couple of years I'm not as cool.
I promise you will not be as cool in a couple of years. And that doesn't. You might be the coolest guy in the world, and the kids won't think you're cool in a couple of years.
But my son, and he's super into sports, and so. Just, he's always talking. If the K-State has a game, Dad, can we listen to pregame? Can we do this? Can we do that? And both of them are just really, really fun.
So I should ask this question a second ago, but if your pet could talk, and we've established you have a little dog,
yes.
What do you think they might say about you?
Oh man, well, my dog does talk in our family. He has a voice. My kids always, because they get a kick out of it. So he has a voice, and he would say I'm very regimented. I've got to be, he gets his walks in the morning, mid afternoon, and then a couple at night, and. I think he'd say we give good treats. We give good table scraps. He's well taken care of.
Okay.
Plenty of hamburger.
He'd be generally positive.
Oh yeah, he's good review. Yeah, absolutely.
4 stars.
Yeah.
What did you do as a teenager other than work at Target? I guess. What did you do as a teenager that makes you cringe now?
Oh, I had a goatee.
Oh, nice.
And it was horrible. It was so I have blonde hair. Obviously, the podcast can't see that, but my goatee is like red. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the entire world when I was a freshman in high school, and it was absolutely not. It was pretty gross. So
I had a mullet, so similar scenario, and I liked it.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
I loved it at the time.
Yeah, I did too. I like mine too. Do you prefer working remotely or in the office?
In the office. Oh my gosh. My wife and I are both very lucky in that we can work from home if we have to. And that's been really great for our employers to do that. But yeah, I need to be with people, seeing people, just being a part of the office. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm the same way. How do you deal with work stress?
Honestly, working out is good. I think that helps. Doing a little exercise, staying healthy, that's good stuff. And then just kind of doing stuff with my kids, just getting out of the work mode and just focusing on what they're doing. Church helps, honestly. I'm pretty involved in St. Thomas More, and like being over there. That's just kind of disassociating myself from being a lawyer for a little while and focusing on other things, whether it's any of those things, that always helps.
All right. Well, Andy, thank you for being on the Think MHK podcast, and congratulations again.
Appreciate it.
Winning the 20 under 40 this year.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Think MHK, a podcast produced by the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce. If you enjoyed the Think MHK podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe and share it out on your social media channels. Feel free to reach out to us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at the Manhattan Area Chamber of Commerce.